Welcome. Good afternoon. Faculty and staff, you may be seated. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to today's Convocation ceremony. We're privileged today to be joined by Syracuse University Chancellor Kent Syverud, by distinguished alumni, including the chair of the College of Law's Board of Advisors, Mark Malfitano, and the president of the Syracuse University Law Alumni Association, Carrie Ng. We have College of Law faculty and staff, our student mentors. These are students from the classes of 2017 and 2018 who serve as mentors to our LLM and 1L students. We have the incoming Juris Doctor class of 2019 and the Masters of Law class of 2017. And last, but certainly not least, the families and other guests of the incoming JD and LLM classes who are viewing this ceremony via simulcast in the Levy Atrium upstairs. Welcome. We're here today to celebrate and welcome the incoming JD and LLM classes who will begin their studies here this fall. What an impressive group of students. There are 224 JD students, and of those 224, 125 are women, 97 are men. Sorry, gentlemen, you're outnumbered this year. Our JD students come to us from 131 different U.S. undergraduate institutions and 15 foreign institutions. You hail from 31 different states and 8 countries, including China, Canada, Iran, South Korea, the Philippines, Saudi Arabia, Taiwan, and Uganda. 6 of you are sons or daughters of Syracuse Law alumni. 64 of you are students of color, and I'm pleased to say that's an increase of 12% over last year. 15 of you are veterans or dependents of veterans. 15 of you are married, and 16 of you hold advanced degrees, including 4 of you who hold PhDs. Our incoming LLM students are 27 of them. They hail from 19 different countries, including Azerbaijan, Brazil, China, the Dominican Republic, Egypt, Ethiopia, Ghana, Jamaica, South Korea, Cambodia, Malawi, Pakistan, Palestine, the Gaza Strip, Peru, Poland, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and Tajikistan. 17 of you are students of color, and in contrast to the JD class, men very slightly outnumber women, 14 to 13. So let me be the first to welcome you, our incoming JD and LLM classes, to the Syracuse University College of Law. Today's convocation ceremony is special to me for 3 reasons. First, a convocation ceremony was not held at any of the 4 law schools with whom I was previously associated, so this is my first such ceremony. But I think it's a wonderful tradition because it does the following. It emphasizes the pride that we have in the students who come to the College of Law. It signifies the seriousness of the pursuit of a legal education, which I believe comes with the tremendous responsibility of helping to preserve the rule of law around the globe. And finally, it presages the day, 3 years from now in the case of our JD students, and a year from now in case of our LLM students, when you'll walk across a similar stage in a ceremony much like today's and receive the diploma for which you will have worked so hard. Today's ceremony is also special because each of the students in this room share something important with me. We are all embarking on the first year of our experience at this great law school. My pledge to you as your dean is to ensure that each of you is supported in your education here and that the education you receive encompasses the knowledge and skills that you'll need for the careers you'll have after graduation. As most of you know, I began my tenure as dean here just 4 weeks ago. One of the many things that I've seen and experienced in these few short weeks leads me to the third reason this day is special for me. It is shared with more than 25 of the remarkable alumni of this law school who have carved out from their very busy and demanding lives the time to return here at their own expense, not only to attend this ceremony, but also to spend time tomorrow sharing with you their knowledge and their experience as seasoned practitioners of the profession to which you aspire. For their time, for their financial support they provide many of you through scholarships and the funding of this beautiful facility, and for their dedication to the success of this law school, we are profoundly grateful. Thank you. And I'm particularly pleased to introduce to you today one of these alumni who is also the newest member of the College of Law Board of Advisors. Keisha Audane Presley is Senior Vice President and Senior Compliance Officer in the Legal and Compliance Department of the Pacific Investment Management Company, commonly known as PIMCO. PIMCO is one of the world's most respected investment managers with over $1.5 trillion in assets under management. Ms. Audane Presley is a member of the Regulatory Compliance Group management team and also directly manages the team responsible for providing regulatory compliance support for all of PIMCO's portfolio management and trading activities. Before joining PIMCO, she was a Senior Vice President and Senior Compliance Officer at Neuberger Berman Management, a Chief Compliance Officer in Lehman Brothers Investment Management Division, a manager in the Asset Management Advisory Services practice at Ernst & Young, and an Assistant Vice President at the Bank of New York. Ms. Audane Presley has 14 years of investment experience and is an attorney with the New York State Bar. Most important to us, though, is the fact that Ms. Audane Presley is orange through and through, having earned a JD from the College of Law, a Master of Public Administration degree from the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs, and a bachelor's degree cum laude. Please join me in welcoming our convocation speaker, Ms. Keisha Audane Presley.
Wow, I must say, I'm so excited. This is amazing. You know, as Dean Boise said to you, I'll just tell you just a short little snip before I go into my chat with you today. I do bleed orange through and through. It is because of Syracuse that I am married to my wonderful husband, David, who I met here as an undergraduate. My older sister is a graduate of Syracuse University, as is one of my aunts. So our family and Syracuse University have an extended relationship in history, and I'm so proud to be here today on behalf of those members of my family. I have a 9-year-old son. His name is also David, and my hope is that one day my husband and I will be making that drive from Westfield, New Jersey, where we live, to bring him here so that he may continue our esteemed family tradition. I'm really humbled by the chance to be here today. I'd like you to consider this a conversation, one that, you know, I will lead it first on behalf of our alumni community, but one that I hope you as incoming students will continue with the alumni community during your time here and beyond. Thank you to Syracuse University, to the Maxwell School, and to the College of Law. The reason I have an opportunity to address you today is because of the best-in-class education that I have received right here on this campus. A special note of acknowledgement to the College of Law administration. I have never met a group of more talented individuals who not only really took care of me during my time here, but continued our relationship after my graduation. And as an alumni of this institution, the administration of this esteemed college, they do such a great job of reaching out to alumni, keeping us connected, and it's so that we can support all of you in your endeavors. So I'd be remiss if I did not recognize them today. And then one other note, I'd just like to thank Professor Bill Banks, who he's just amazing. I'm standing here today because of him. I got an email from him one day at work as I was dealing with a really crazy SEC issue, and I read it, and I was like, I called my husband. I said, I think Professor Banks wants me to speak at Convocation. How weird. And my husband's like, well, why is that weird? You should say yes, and you should do it, which is typically what my husband does. He encourages me even when I'm afraid and I think I can't do things. He was like, you can do everything, and you should definitely say yes. So thank you, Bill. You hold a special place in my heart, and on behalf of the alumni community, we thank you for your service as interim dean, and we also thank you for all of the amazing contributions you've made to the law school. So thank you. So I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome to the incoming JDs and LLM candidates, and their family and friends who I understand are observing us from elsewhere in the law school. Welcome. You've traveled quite a ways to come here. Some of you maybe not so far, others very, very far. And we welcome you, and we're so happy to have you with us today. The incoming class and I share some common attributes. I thought it would be good to share a few of them with you so we can at least establish a rapport before I really get into the substance of my remarks today. Like me, 56% of you are female. 8% of you are SU grads. Go Orange. I hope for those of you who are connected to SU, you were able. I'm a big football fan, by the way. So Marvin Harrison was recently inducted to the Football Hall of Fame. Awesome, just awesome. I knew Marvin when he was here as an undergraduate, and I, was so happy with Orange Pride to see him be inducted to the Hall of Fame. So I kind of had to mention that because I just thought it was an amazing thing. 50% of you are from New York State. I am actually from what they call downstate here, which I didn't learn that term until I came upstate. That New York City and the surrounding areas are called downstate. So I'm specifically from Brooklyn, New York. Born and raised there, and now live in Westfield, New Jersey, as I said, with my family. 29% of you are students of color, and 7% of you hold advanced degrees, and 15% of you are married. So I thought it would be great to just, you may be looking at me thinking I have nothing in common with her, but we do have something in common, so I thought I'd share that with you. Notably, there are 24 different countries represented with our incoming classes here, and I just thought that was amazing because our world is small, our world is interconnected, our world is global, and it's just amazing to see that represented here at the College of Law. I'm so proud of that, and thank you to the admissions team for that. Now that we know each other a little bit better, let's talk about, why we're all here. It's your decision to pursue a legal education. I know that you're sitting here maybe feeling happy, maybe a little bit anxious, maybe scared and saying, well, what is this going to be like? This is probably, one of your very first days here on campus. What will this mean for my future? And you're sort of looking through your crystal ball, wishing that you could choreograph it all out so it could make you sort of feel better. At least that's how I was feeling when I was in your seat. Just for reference, I had no lawyers in my family. So I didn't really have anybody that I could call up and say, what is this going to be like? What should I do and how should I do it? So I kind of had to figure it out along the way. But, for me, the professors were invaluable, administrators invaluable, alumni invaluable. I would not be here, with the career that I have, 16 years of working in the financial services and the asset management industry without the help of alumni. There's not one time that I sent an email or made a phone call that it went unreturned. So I stress that to you because we're all here today because we care and we want to help you. So I would encourage you to meet as many alumni as you can along your journey. And when they extend themselves to you, it's not just talk. We are here for you, but you kind of have to do your part. So when we extend ourselves, write the email, make the phone call. You will be rewarded as I have been. Um, you know, one of the emotions I hope you feel today is excitement. I'm excited to be addressing you today because the pursuit of a legal education is an aspiration for many, but actually achieved by very few. I can't tell you how many people I meet in my journey who say, oh, I want to go to law school, I want to be a lawyer. And I think it's the perception of it that people aspire to be, but they really don't understand the hard work. They don't understand the effort. And it's really important for you to not only celebrate the fact that you've been accepted to the College of Law, but we want to actually see each of you successfully complete your path here and graduate and pass the bar and become gainfully employed. And hopefully to join all of us in the alumni community in continuing to support the college. Some of you may be thinking, you know what, I know how to do this. I know how to be a successful student. That's why I'm here. You're probably thinking, I got this. Like, you know, there's nothing that anybody can tell me because I'm here. And you know what? I won't take that away from you. It is quite an accomplishment to be here. But what I will also say to you is that I will disagree with you because becoming a successful lawyer requires a different skill set than one that is required to be a successful student. Right? It's a little bit of, it's a little bit of an enhancement. So I challenge you, for those of you who may be thinking, you know what, all I'm going to do is what I've done, what I did in undergrad, you know, what I did in high school. I'll just continue to do that. I'll study, I'll put my time in, I'll write my papers, I'll do my exams, and that will be it. That's all I need. You need a lot more than that. So hopefully you'll indulge me as we go down this road together. You know, I think that the skill set, so someone asked me recently, you know, what do you need to become a lawyer? And I said, wow, I said, that's a really loaded question. I said, but I could give you the basics, and then you can probably, you know, add your own little enhancements to it. You need a person who is level-headed, right? You need a person, this is not a pursuit for someone who is spontaneous and not well thought out in their judgment, in their decision making. Very important skill set. You need to be thorough. Your attention to detail should be paramount. And at the end of the day, no matter what you do in the legal field, we serve clients, right? We serve clients. So I think people sometimes forget that there is a human aspect, right? There's a human aspect to what we do every single day. And no matter whether you're the district attorney or whether you are working in a law firm in Manhattan, or whether you're a public interest lawyer, or whether you're like me in a compliance field working for a corporation, I have clients. I have internal clients, I have external clients, and there's a human aspect to what we do. And I hope that each of you never forget that. It's really what separates us, I think. It's what helps the great ones be amazing and what sort of keeps everybody else average, right? To remember that we're working for people, to serve people. And in many cases, lawyers make huge differences in people's lives. Whether you're buying your first house or writing your first will, these things are really important, and lawyers just play an integral role in our society. I know that, you know, if you read the press and you follow the news sometimes, which I often do, you know, lawyers sometimes get a bad rap, right? Like people for some reason think that lawyers are not significant contributors at times to the world in which we live. And it just takes no further than looking at, you know, our news events to see what lawyers do, you know, on behalf of, you know, people every day. So I would encourage you to stay true to your beliefs and stay true to, obviously, the pursuit that you have selected for yourself, which is to pursue a legal education and to have a career in the legal field, no matter what that may be. So your skill set, right? You're going to have to do what I call, I tell this to our young people that start at PIMCO, you know, you have to retool your toolbox, right, when you come to work. You can't come to work with the skill sets that you've had in school and think that that's all you will need at work to be successful. I really need to be able to have a conversation with you and to have you speak to me in complete sentences, not sound bites or text message speak, which I often use in my personal life, but I never use at work. Very, very important for you to think about how you are going to transform yourself, right? And that's really what happens to you, I feel, in law school. You sort of come to law school with who you are at that point in time, and then there's a stripping away. There's a stripping away of the manner in which you think about things, the manner in which you process information. Your writing skills change. And all of this is for the better, because when people hire you for your legal education, they're hiring you for those basic sets of skills. Your ability to interpret complex information, distill it down and summarize it, write effectively and in a very focused way to get your point across. These are the skills that we as employers value at a very fundamental level. And that I hope that I'm sure you're pretty okay at it because you're here. But there's a next level. There's a next level that you have to go to really be that right and suitable candidate for employment. So retooling your toolbox is important. Recognizing that you may need to retire some old skills, develop some new skills, and possibly change some skills as well. And all for the better, right? All to make you evolve into this person who will be that professional that client will hire and trust to advise them and trust to represent them. And there's no more important thing, I think, in my line of work than when I'm given something and someone says, I trust you, Keisha, and I know you'll get this done for us. And so, retooling that toolbox is paramount. I think that success is something that is really defined on an individual level. But at a minimum, I think there are some things that we would expect of you. And by we, I mean the alumni, I mean professors, and I mean our College of Law community. We really expect you to leverage all of the resources that we make available to you. That combined with a strong work ethic will deliver your best academic performance. And make no mistake about it, this is an academic exercise first and foremost, right? Your ability to distinguish yourselves when you leave here, it's the same way that it was when you applied to law school. That was an academic effort that was then evaluated and you were selected. When you initially look for a job, the same thing applies. There's an academic effort that occurs here, and there's an evaluation of your effort, and your grades are a part of that. Your ability to pass the bar are all a part of that. It's not the whole story, but it's a very important part of the story. So I encourage you all to think about that. The other thing I think we'd expect of you, without being too specific, is that you conduct yourself with professionalism, honesty, and integrity. So important. Your career is a lifetime, right? You may make a decision on the spur of the moment, which, hopefully you won't do because, lawyers don't do that. So that's part of the transformation. But don't do anything to endanger your academic standing or your long-term employment prospects. You only get one time to do this right. It's funny, Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff, I'm sure it's, it's amazing. I love social media. It's kept me connected to people who I had lost touch with. But I also will be honest with you in saying to you that we have terminated people at places where I have worked because of how they have used social media. And because we don't want people to represent us who would do anything to disparage their personal brand and our corporate brand. So it's really important that you think about how you conduct yourselves. If you haven't cleaned up your Facebook page in a while, I'd go take a look at it. Please don't wait till 3 years from now to do that. Don't let, a statement, a picture, keep you from the dream that you have for yourself, right? From an employment perspective. So think about that. And the last thing we'd expect from you is to continue making positive contributions to the College of Law, as we all have. as the alumni have, and that's why they're here today. You know, we expect you to help increase the value of our diploma, the diploma that I have earned, the diploma that all of the alumni have earned. You know, we are stewards of that diploma for you as you continue your educational pursuits. And when you graduate, we expect that you will make investments to increase the value of our brand. So we really we trust you, and we trust you to represent us, and we know that you won't let us down. Engagement. So, you know, people say, okay, so I've got to retool this toolbox. How do I do that? I don't know how to do that. I don't even know what you're talking about. Engagement. How, I want you all to be engaged in this every day. Engaged in this effort to pursue a legal education and engaged in really building your professional future. If you would have asked me 16 years ago if I would be standing here today talking to you with the experiences I've had professionally, I would have told you no way. I'm like, not me. That's somebody else. That's a different woman, not me. But it is me. And so my hope today is that I can help to share with you the things that I have learned along the way, and the hopes that you may use them to chart your own course. I think that, when you talk about engagement, obviously it means different things to different people, but there are a few things that I think are important to point out to you about what I mean by engagement when I say I need you all to be engaged in this with us. Accept and own your responsibility to pursue your dream. So what I mean by that is just because your application has been successful and you're sitting here doesn't mean your work is over, right? I need you all to own your path here, and hopefully it's a path towards success, which frankly just means you need to put the hard work in. I wish I could pretty that up for you, but I really can't. And look, at times it's so daunting. It's so challenging. I remember vividly instances where I questioned myself. I questioned whether I could do this when I was sitting in your seat. And I did it. So you can do it too, but I need you to accept and own your responsibility in this, because if you don't do that, none of us can do it for you. No one can step in and do the work for you. They can't read the cases. They can't brief them. They won't take the exam. They won't try out for moot court. Like, nobody can do that. You got to do it. As great as our parents are, and I've got some great ones as well, there was a point where, they couldn't help me. And I had to really do it on my own. So one characterization of what it means to be engaged. The other is be 150% committed to exploration, really. I know some of you may be sitting in these seats thinking, I know exactly what I want to do and where I want to do it. I'm going to move back to this state. I'm going to live in this city. I'm going to have this job. And maybe all that's true. And if that's the case, then you've choreographed it all and you just need to dance, right? Until you get to the end of the song. But what I would like to challenge you to do is to really be open. Again, I didn't even know what a stock or bond was when I was an undergraduate. I could break down a complex derivative for you today, and it's because of the fact that I was open. And so I would encourage you to really just be flexible and nimble. And if an opportunity comes your way, don't turn it down because it doesn't meet some predetermined plan that's in your head. That's okay. That might actually lead you to make a decision to take a job that might change your life. So really, I really encourage you all to be very open. I've done that, and it's served me well, and I'm sure others have done that as well. Don't be passive. This is, think about, what lawyers are. We're advocates. We're helpers. My son was doing something in school recently about community helpers. And so he looked at me and he says, well, you're a lawyer, Mama. You're a helper. And I said, well, thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. I said, I never quite thought about it that way, but this is not a passive effort. So if you think that you don't have to advocate for yourself, be proactive in what you do. That's the complete antithesis, right, to what lawyers do. And if that's not a part of your personality today, you really might want to think about how to develop it, because it's really important, not only in helping you advocate for yourself, but in helping you, again, to retool, develop that toolbox and that skill set to help your client. Being a passive person, I think, might not yield you the result that you would like. Along this endeavor of being engaged, it really takes a lot to help us get there. Professors, administrators, alumni, relatives, acquaintances, all of these people are people that you can call on to assist you as you embark in this journey. And if it's any example, I'm sure they'll step up to the plate and be happy to support you as you're doing it. So this is not a singular exercise. Don't think you have to go at this alone. When, how, and who to engage with. Right? So we've talked about the toolbox, and then we've talked about how to develop your toolbox with engagement. And so now I'm going to talk a little bit about when to engage, how to engage, and who to engage. When to engage. All the time. All the time. You really can't take a break. I'm sorry. You can take a really great vacation after you take the bar exam. That's what I did. That's what I did. And it's memorable. And you know what? I earned that vacation. And I had a great time. But I'll be honest with you, while I was in school and I worked my way through school as well, it was just a grind. But I'm happy for it. Engage in activities that serve your best interest and contribute to the larger community. I think that speaks for itself. The other thing I would say is, on the when to engage. Sometimes you have to know when an exercise is kind of worth your time versus not worth your time, right? And I think, again, that's an individual's decision that everybody makes. Spend your time wisely. Do things that will contribute to your understanding, to you excelling and doing well. Don't spend your time on distractions. Distractions don't get you anywhere but distracted, right? Who to engage. I talked a little bit about this already, but when you sort of, you go through all your opening, get your ID card, get your books, figure out where Starbucks is. That's a very important thing, by the way. And I own no stock in Starbucks, so that's not a plug for them, but coffee is a great thing and it works for me. So hopefully you'll find something that works for you. Administration, career services, alumni services, the dean's office, the admissions office, they are the reason that classes have not only excelled here, but graduated and people continue to come back. They actually have a wealth of knowledge. They're not here just to be here. So if you need help, I would reach out. They've helped, they've mentored, and they have helped us all along, and they're here for you as well. So, your interaction with them doesn't stop, when you begin your classes. Professors are invaluable. You all know that. We value each and every we value each and every one of you, and we thank you. It touches my heart when I come back and I see professors who were here when I was a student and people who helped me along my path. To the students, what I would say is when professors actually post their office hours, you should use them, not just when you get the bad grade you don't like either. Right, so you should start that relationship building early and often. If you want to go chat after you get the bad grade, that's a poor starting point. Just so you know. So I would definitely reach out to them. For the alumni, when we give you our contact information, use it. People don't hand out emails and phone numbers just for tricks. And if I tell you to email me or I tell you to call me at a certain time, do it. This sounds very elementary and very basic, but you would be surprised. Some people don't follow through. Yet again, an indication of what type of future prospect you might be like, right? As a worker. In terms of engaging future employers, I mean, I could go on about this after my 16 years of reading resumes, interviewing candidates, and selecting people for various roles at the places where I've worked. I'll try to distill this down to a few points. Most important thing is you only have one opportunity to make an impression on someone. Just one. Just one. And don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste it with incorrect grammar. Don't waste it with a poorly organized resume. Don't waste it with an unprofessional appearance. Dress for the norms of the role that you are pursuing. If you don't know it, find out about it. It's important. You know, I'm wearing a bright orange dress today because I bleed orange, but I would never encourage anybody to wear the color dress that I'm wearing today to an interview. Bad idea. Bad idea. You know, my work closet is filled with blacks and navies and grays for a reason, because that is the uniform of my work. You know, so I really, I can't stress that enough. I was talking to one of the other alums. I won't reveal his identity, but his comment to me, I was talking to him right before I got robed, and he said, make sure you tell them to brush their teeth. So I thought that was funny. I thought I'd share that. But yeah, you know, hygiene's great. Hygiene, to me, hygiene is like a fundamental element. So please, you know, spare us all and make sure you handle all those aspects. Gain as much work experience as you can while you're here, right? There's nothing better for a future employer than to see someone who's dressed appropriately, who understands the aspects of the job, and who can clearly articulate the skills that they have and why that employer should hire them. Wow, that's like the holy grail. When that happens, the rainbow comes out, the clouds part, and I get very excited. It doesn't happen that much. Not many people can clearly articulate grades versus work experience versus what I'm looking for as a hiring manager. It's important. Go see the Office of Career Services. They can help you with that. The last thing for future employers, and like I said, I could go on about this, so I'm keeping it short. Be financially responsible. Manage your student loan debt. Manage your credit card debt. Manage your money. And what I mean by that is you would be surprised how many employers today not only check your Facebook pages, but they check your credit. I have had to tell people that they could not work for us because they had poor credit. Pay your bills. Pay your bills. So I hope that in my remarks today, what you take away from this is how excited we are to have you. All of the things that you should start thinking about as you embark on this journey to help make it successful for you. And last but not least, the fact that you can do this. You can do this. I'm so confident of the fact that you can do this. I hope my remarks inspire you because all of you inspire me. You inspire me to not be complacent. You inspire me to continue to evolve. You inspire me to keep pushing and working hard. So I hope that you take that away from this as well. On behalf of the alumni who are here today in Dineen Hall and around the globe, we're here to support you, but remember to stay engaged and to do your part. Thank you.
Thank you for those inspiring words. At this time, I'd like to invite Chancellor Severud, the Assistant Dean of Students, Kelly Curtis, and Assistant Dean for Enrollment Management, Nikki Laubenstein, to join me on the main floor to introduce the Master of Laws class of 2017 and the Juris Doctor class of 2019. Students will be released by row by student mentors. So please come down with your name card. Once introduced and greeted, you'll return to your seat.
Christopher Leone, New York, JD. Nathan Giroud, JD, New Hampshire. Trevor Hinman, JD, New York. Tanner Kingston, JD, Washington. Diane Williamson, JD, Syracuse, New York, sorry. Jiali Tao, LLM, China. Milan Tang, LLM, China. Sovana Rai, LLM, Cambodia. Sebastian Piedmont, JD, New York. Jacob Honan, JD, New York. Aaron Records, JD, New Hampshire. Christopher McElveen, JD, North Carolina. Jacob Schorlemer, JD, Texas. Jordan O'Connor, JD, Texas. Quinn Cartelli, JD, New York. Richard Bianco, JD, New York. Kevon Taylor, LLM, Jamaica. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Jehun Hakverdiev, LLM, Azerbaijan. Stephanie Hanrahan, JD, New York. Brendan Tomey, JD, Texas. Danielle Patricia Wilner, JD, Canada. Alexander Robinson, JD, California. Nathan Lord, JD, Maine. Ju Hyung Oh, JD, South Korea. Shensung Kim, JD, South Korea. Troy Green, JD, New York. Sam Rogers, JD, Pennsylvania. John P. Joslin, JD, New York. Gardar Olafson, JD, Washington. Tanea Sparacino, JD, New York. Kyle Palmore, JD, Illinois. Morgan Hinckley, JD, New York. Amanda Kramer, JD, New York. Leanne Pedrick, JD, New York. Danielle Noyes, JD, New York. Kristen Peck, JD, Pennsylvania. Cody Andrushko, JD, New York. Rachel Kessler, JD, New York. Aram Basmajian, JD, California. Erica Hooker, JD, New York. Marianne Spencer, JD, Utah. Elle Nainstein, JD, Florida. Elena Marino, JD, New York. Vikrant S. Gore, JD, Virginia. Michael Verridge, JD, Illinois. Irene Kabundo, JD, Uganda, and Texas. Ama Amako Ada, LLM, Ghana. Sarish Nawaz, JD, New York. Amy Johnson, JD, New York. Saja Shabon, LLM, Saudi Arabia. Yolanda Kotula, LLM, Poland. Eugene Mock, Seoul, Korea, JD. Robert Rivera, JD, New Jersey. Dennis Scanlon, JD, New York. Brian Kim, JD, Texas. Jamie Richards, JD, Canada. Connor Barnett, JD, Connecticut. Brini Kraft, JD, Iowa. Courtney Griffin, JD, Massachusetts. Heather Cooper, JD, New York. Maria Zumpano, JD, New York. Jason Addlestone, JD, Colorado. Rachel Saltarelli, JD, New York. Shanoz Mamadotova, LLM, Tajikistan. Sarah Knickerbocker, JD, New York. Fahime Zahiri, JD, New York. Stephanie Joslin, JD, New York. Sarah Adams, JD, New York. Taylor Reed, JD, New York. Laura O'Brien, JD, Maryland. Erica Simonson, JD, Texas. Samuel Buckbauer, JD, New Jersey. Stephen Eichner, JD, New York. Mohammed Al-Muhanna, LLM, Saudi Arabia. Faisal Al-Dayel, LLM, Saudi Arabia. Jasmine Greenfield, JD, Nebraska. Saeed Kunatai, JD, Saudi Arabia, also Kansas. Kaula Wakaf, LLM, Syria. Haisha Penhiro, LLM, Brazil. Tracy Parker, JD, Florida. Lisa Ellen, JD, New York. Jinsi Joseph Wu, JD, Taiwan. Alex Avaken, Alex Avaken, California, JD. Andrew Ayers, JD, Texas. Michael Kilcommons, JD, New York. Mirza Hadzic, JD, New York. Ali Al-Yami, LLM, Saudi Arabia. Yamilet Brizuela, JD, California. Celine Demir, JD, Maryland. Umar Deol, JD, California. Mark Argentino, JD, New York. Michael Flessa, JD, New York. Brandon De Jesus, JD, New York. Esther Aparicio, JD, New Jersey. Ernesto Dominguez, JD, Florida. Patara Japay, JD, New York City. She wrote on the card. Kelsey Carbatal, JD, California. Charlotte Monday, JD, New York. Gabrielle Bull, JD, Washington. Jacqueline Collins, JD, New Jersey. Elizabeth Betance Suarez, LLM, Dominican Republic.
Jordan Beal, Utah, JD. Adam Carey, New York, JD. Michael Conven, New York, JD. Luke Edmondson, Pennsylvania, JD. Stephen Zuber, New York, JD. Kelly McFarland, New York, JD. Olivia Fontana, New York, JD. Macy Tefke, JD, New York. Laura Daniels, Massachusetts, JD. Cynthia Moore, California, JD. Zachary Perdek, JD, New York. Molly Hutto, JD, Texas. Maria Runaluli, JD, Colorado. Ryan Harrison, JD, Illinois. Charlie O'Brien, JD, Maryland. Vincent M. Hills, JD, New York. Jennifer Taylor, JD, New York. Katie Becker, JD, New York. Carolyn Bertholoff, JD, New York. Rachel Theodoro, JD, New York. Sarah Murphy, JD, New York. Ksenia Guliave. Gulieva, LLM, Russia. Margaret Maybe, New York, JD. Sarah Shep, JD, New Jersey. Carrie Gibson, JD, Illinois. Trevor McDaniels, JD, Illinois. Nicole Sands, JD, New York. Taylor Lambert, JD and MAIR, Canada. Alexandra Griesbeck, JD, New York. Amanda Wang, JD, Canada. Chang Won Kang, JD, South Korea. Christopher Helinski, JD, New York. Megan Cadwell, JD, Florida. Matthew William Wallace, JD, California. Michael Whitaker, JD, New York. Robert Kuvetsky, JD, North Carolina. Stephen Foss, JD, New Jersey. Zachary Boren, JD, Virginia. Anna Gromova, JD, Russia. Katie Haima, JD, Michigan. Douglas Bullock, JD, New York. Matthew Hinn, JD, New York. Jenna Romine, JD, Ohio. Donia Faisbash, JD, New York. Anna Poyurovsky, JD, New York. Shelby Mann, Tennessee. Amy Sungvi, JD, Indiana. Thomas Capone, JD, New York. Andrew Boatwright, JD, Georgia. Brendan Golfman, JD, Canada. James Parker Mincy, JD, Georgia. Lisa Nab, JD, New York. Gerald Bannon, JD, Pennsylvania. Corey Tull, JD, New York. Lauren Galloway, JD, Illinois. Matthew Sneed, JD, California. Emma Coppola, JD, Rhode Island. Sophie Bober, JD, Connecticut. Samuel Hauser, JD, New York. Richard Kelly, JD, New Jersey. Yizhen Zhang, JD, China. Ji Chen, JD, China. Wesley Masters, JD, New York. Nicholas Constantino, JD, New York. Shawtone 1, JD, China. Alexander Ronald Mena, Alexander Ronald Mena, JD, Tennessee. Jennifer Magali, JD, New York. Ursula Simmons, JD, Illinois. Marissa Perry Sharp, JD, Tennessee. Holly Webster, JD, Florida. Carol Lunger, JD, New Jersey. Athena Pantelopoulos, JD, New York. Lina Paradiso, JD, New Jersey. Christian Walker, JD, New York. Shailena Fennelly, JD, Arizona. Elizabeth Zimmer, JD, New York. Christina Servi, JD, California. Michelle Lopez, JD, California. Amit Valles, JD, Delaware. Esther Chung, JD, New Jersey. Stacy McCabe, JD, New York. Elizabeth L. Lehman, JD, New Hampshire. Zoe Whitehouse, JD, California. Caitlin Buckman, JD, New York. Paige Ingram, JD, California. Brittany Durkin, JD, Arizona. Vincent Estevez, JD, California. Benjamin Millard, JD, Connecticut. Christina Kalibek, JD, Illinois. Hannah Redmond, JD, New York. Omar Al-Harti, LLM, Saudi Arabia. Matthew Bulris, JD, Indiana. William Gould, JD, Massachusetts. Mohammed Almania, JD, Saudi Arabia. Christopher Gesslin, JD, Connecticut. Tessa Cady, JD, New York. Lacey Grummins, JD, New York. Patrick Dunleavy, JD, New York. Joshua Karen, JD, New York. Nicholas Reinsdorf, JD, New York. Christopher Bayamonte, JD, New York. Anthony Keach, JD, New York. Kara Lutz, JD, Indiana. Justin Huber, JD, Indiana. William Venson, JD, Pennsylvania. John Underhill, JD, New York. Evan Naylor, JD, Delaware. Haldane Davies III, JD, United States Virgin Islands. Sarah Fitzpatrick, JD, New York. Dominique Reed, JD, Wisconsin. Casey Machon, JD, Arkansas. Gabrielle Sherwood, JD, New York. Derek Kehoe, JD, New York. Cassidy Stewart, JD, New York. Christina Grazunde, JD, New York. Sarah Lupi, JD, New York. Joseph Battisto, JD, New York. Xavier Gamboa, JD, California. Jungmin Lee, JD, South Korea. Rosa Larios, JD, California. Alicia Loomis, JD, New York. Megan Vumbach, JD, Connecticut. Ahmed Khattab, JD, New Jersey. Christian Bataloro, JD, New Jersey. Wenji Kai, JD, China. Carla Villarreal Lopez, LLM, Peru. Mohammed Sakr, LLM, Egypt. Melissa Goldstein, JD, Florida. Sarah Pertil, JD, New York. Chad Breedis, JD, New York. Adam Martin, JD, California. Michelle Trong, JD, New York. Edwin Trong, JD, New York. Youngmin Lee, LLM, South Korea. Taehoon Kim, LLM, South Korea. Lauren Wolf, JD, Pennsylvania. Dominique Arcuri, JD, New York.
How about a round of applause for this class? Welcome to all of you. At this time, I'd like to invite Associate Dean Margaret Harding to the podium to lead students in the oath.
Welcome and congratulations to each of our new students, both Masters of Law class of 2017 and the Juris Doctor class of 2019. By your earnestness of purpose, your diligence, and your talent, you have earned the privilege of being a member of our newly admitted class. Today, you officially commence your professional education. In recognition of the seriousness of this undertaking, I now ask you to stand and join in the oath of professional education. Please refer to your program for the words as we recite the oath together. As I commence my studies at the Syracuse University College of Law, I undertake to hold myself to a rigorous standard of personal integrity and adhere to it faithfully, never to forget, even for an instant, that I am embarking on a professional journey in which I will be a trusted member of the Syracuse University community. I shall strive to broaden my knowledge of the law and of other disciplines with which the law intersects in these modern times. I shall cultivate creativity and an open mind and be receptive to new ideas while attentive to the principles of our legal heritage. I shall be courteous to all, be it classmates, faculty, administrators, strangers, or adversaries, and treat all with unfailing tolerance and respect. I shall respect and uphold the honor code of the Syracuse University College of Law, the ethical rules and standards of the legal profession, the dignity of our judicial system, and the principles of the United States Constitution. I now have the pleasure of welcoming you as the Master of Law class of 2017 and the Juris Doctor class of 2019 to the Syracuse University College of Law.
Thank you. You may be seated. Before we close our convocation proceedings this evening, I would like to recognize the collaborative efforts of some of our staff that went into planning this celebration. In particular, I would like to thank Senior Director of Development, Lori Kive, Assistant Dean for Enrollment Management, Nikki Laubenstein, and Director of Student Life, Michelle Wilcox. Let's show our appreciation. And one last round of applause for the Clinton String Quartet, which has performed so wonderfully for us this afternoon. Let me just share a few guidelines to assist us as we exit the courtroom. The official party on the bench will exit first, followed by the College of Law faculty. Staff and alumni, please exit using the lower doors. The students will remain in the courtroom to have convocation photos taken. Your student mentors will direct you, but I can tell you that the LLM students will have their picture taken second, so if they would come down to the floor, the photo will be taken in the seats or where you're sitting of the JDs, and then we'll have the LLM students move up into the seats and take that photo. Please move quickly through this process so we can move directly to celebrating your entrance into the study of law with your family, friends, faculty, and staff of the College of Law, as well as our alumni. Congratulations again to the Masters of Law class of 2017 and the Juris Doctor class of 2019. Thank you.